I see a caveman leaving the cave, very hungry, looking for a deer or a rabbit or something to kill. Looked at the ground and found some rotting fruit, picked it up, had a bite of this stuff, said, well, it's not the best, but it's not bad. I'll just keep eating this stuff. And a half hour later, it was smashed and was ready to fight lions. You know, it's the first drug. I think it's man's first natural tranquilizer.
You know what Voltaire said? We all have to cultivate our garden. So Maurice Canbar is cultivating a large garden here in San Francisco.
When Maurice Canbar asks you what you need to know, the answer is everything. Okay? So if he asks you what do you need to know, you're going to say everything.
Maurice has phenomenal instincts. Every time I think he's wrong about something, it's very annoying because he turns out to be right.
Eccentric genius. That was really how I summarize him.
He definitely is an independent thinker, and he's a doer, and it's why he's been so successful.
One of a kind. I enjoy being with him because he is a real piece of work.
He's one of these cats who just does what he says he's going to do.
I grew up with the notion that everything in life could be improved.
And you sit there and talk to him, he'll tell you. He'll say, look, if I had enough hours in the day, I could improve that light switch. And I'd be surprised if he couldn't, because that's what he does. You know, he takes things that are fairly simple and he just turns them into, you know, a better product. And it's amazing.
I'll describe my first invention.
Did Maurice tell you the story of how he invented the defuzzit? He was waiting for a friend to meet him in New York. He was in his 20s. He was really young. And he saw his friend and pulled away from the cement wall that he'd been leaning against and looked behind him and realized he'd left some of the pills from his sweater, you know, little pieces of your sweater come off. And anybody else would just ignore that or be embarrassed. And Maurice got an idea.
I said, what the hell is that? I said, you know, that's very strange. And Mom said, come on, let's go down. I said, wait a minute. I just, okay, went downstairs. But anyway, couldn't get that out of my mind. The concrete was made of a combination of sand, cement, and gravel. And the sand was, in a sense, small crystals. And what had happened was these little crystals grabbed the ball off the sweater and held on to it. After thinking about this for a couple of hours, I bought some rough fabric, put an adhesive on that, and sprinkled that with aluminum oxide crystals, which is used for sandpaper actually. Sprinkled it on, let it dry, bent it over into a little arc, and in fact, it worked beautifully in removing these balls from sweaters. I was going to call it balls off, but that didn't go in the early 60s. So we finally called it defuzzit.
And then he started sending them to every five and dime in the country and with a little order form. And it was really successful.
He doesn't see the world the way everybody else sees the world. When people first heard of SKYY Vodka, or even the idea of it, people thought it was insane, it was crazy, who needs another vodka? Nobody believed in him, nobody supported him, and he said it doesn't matter, and he went ahead and he did his thing.
It's one of the most incredible stories in the liquor industry ever. When you think 6 years ago, we started in one of Maurice's bedrooms. 4 of us.
The genius is in the simplicity. And the package itself, think about the package itself. Cobalt blue bottle, it's an elegant design, and it's the name Sky. How much more simple do you need to be?
I've always enjoyed a drink, you know, at lunch, dinner, you know what I mean? It's just something that takes the edge off the day. And I would find that I very often develop a very severe headache. And I just felt that was the price you paid for drinking, for the enjoyment of alcohol. And one day I said to a friend of mine, he happens to be a physician, I said, Martin, I got this terrible headache. And he said, oh, well, I said, I've been drinking vodka, like you said, vodka. He said, well, he says, you probably got a lot that had a high congener content. I said, excuse me? I said, wait a minute, spell that for me. And I wrote it down, congeners, C-O-N-G-E-N-E-R. I went to the library, the medical library, and sure enough, congeners, oh yeah, we know all about congeners. When you distill the alcohol after the fermentation, you get essentially ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol is the alcohol that we want to drink. That's the thing that gives us a buzz. But the ethyl alcohol is not pure. That is, in the ethyl alcohol is a little bit of amyl alcohol, propyl alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, ethyl formate, a lot of just chemical junk. And that chemical junk today used to be called fusel oil. Today they're called congeners. In the case of SKYY, we remove these congeners and we do it by distillation. I said to myself that if somebody would make a dependably pure vodka, that's the only vodka that I would drink. By that time, I've been doing some investigating as to what alcohol is all about and whatnot, and I became pretty knowledgeable in the area of alcoholic beverages. And I said, I could do that. The standard that I set up at the beginning was that this vodka would contain no more than 10 milligrams of total congeners per liter. And the next problem I had was, what would I call this vodka? So the first name that came into my mind was Tsar Nikolai vodka. I said, wait a minute, it's not going to be Russian, it's going to be American. It's going to be made right here in America. And one day, this is a true story, I looked out the window of my apartment, I have a view of the bay, and it was one of those days where we had a spectacular blue sky. And I looked up and I said, what an incredible sky, Zap, it hit me. I said, that's the name, SKYY Vodka. We live in a really great country. In most countries of the world, I could not have done this. First of all, the government would say to me, what do you know about alcohol? Who are you? We're not giving you a license to do business in alcohol, especially since alcohol is a source of great revenue. I went down to apply for a license. They said, okay, have you ever been convicted of a felony? No. Fine. They said, what is your grandmother's maiden name or something? You're a citizen of the United States. Sign here, give us $250 or whatever it was. And they gave me a license to deal in alcohol. So to that extent, we are very, very fortunate we live in America. But again, I think that what I did was something that I would buy. In other words, I simply said that this alcohol is something that in the marketplace, if I had nothing to do with it, I would be a SKYY drinker.
Great package, great price point. It's sexy too.
But it also has a personality to it. It's not a boring brand. It's unique from its bottle, which is different from any other bottle.
There's probably 100 premium brands of vodka being sold worldwide, and when you go to the bar, there's only room for about 5, and we're consistently one of them, which is pretty amazing.
It's just a clean, fun product, and it's the way it's presented to people with its distinctive name, SKYY's great call, great pack. It's just something that people adopt and feel very comfortable with.
It really is the finest vodka made in the world. There's no better vodka for sure.